Joining us right now is Illinois Governor JB Pritzker. It's great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
So tell us what the message is, because we've been hearing from a lot of different business leaders quite publicly, as you know, who have been talking about the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, and to be quite blunt about it, a lot of them say they want to get out.
Well, that's not what we're hearing. In fact, you saw that Kellogg moved to Chicago just recently. So just another example of corporate headquarters coming to Illinois. And we're doing a lot to attract businesses and retain businesses. You know, we had one business that left, Citadel, because, frankly, he lost a political election trying to unseat me and, wanted to get out and made as an excuse that we have a high crime. But the reality is he went to Miami where they have a worse.
Oh, but you're talking about Ken Griffin of Citadel. Tell us about that, though. Did you guys ever have a conversation yourselves about this?
Not about my run for re-election. He just decided he didn't want me as governor, and so he went after me and spent $50 million trying to take me out. And then another guy, Richard Uline, who owns Uline, spent another $55 million trying to take me out in the same election. And look, I've talked to Ken Griffin. I've known him for a number of years. We still have a major Citadel headquarters in Chicago, and quite a number of people still working there. They haven't moved jobs, and we're glad to have them in Illinois. But I'm sorry he left.
But it's not political to say, for example, the CEO of McDonald's, for example, has raised concerns about the security issues in Chicago.
And I've sat down with him to talk to him about that. I think his comments are not inappropriate to talk about the safety and security, public safety of people in the city of Chicago and what that means for business. We're doing actually quite a lot to address that, both in crime prevention dollars applied so that we're intervening on the street, literally providing jobs for young people. And then, of course, we just passed an assault weapons ban in the state of Illinois, and that's going to help. But crime is coming down gradually in the city and across the state. It's going to take a little while. These things don't come down immediately, but it's getting better.
Governor, is it the other side would say that it's no cash bail and lenient prosecutors. You got to approach it a whole different way. And I guess the mayor, obviously, of Chicago gets a lot of criticism on that as well. Are you sure that the cure is that you're prescribing is what needs to be done? Is it going to?
It's working, and the reality is that when you talk about no cash bail, people misunderstand that.
Broken window
doesn't mean doesn't mean that you're just letting the jail doors open.
Some places that seems like what's happening.
By the way,
that's not what.
By the way, in the state of New York, though, we have a similar issue. In fact, an employee from Goldman Sachs was killed in the subway. This was earlier this year. After somebody who was let out on bail, who probably clearly shouldn't have been let out on bail.
Banning assault rifles isn't going to do anything for us.
That's exactly the point. That is, violent criminals shouldn't be let out on bail. But when you've got somebody who committed a nonviolent offense and, frankly, would be kept in jail
that's the broken windows argument.
Because they just don't have a few $100s, that's not a justice system. That's injustice.
Some people say when you let the broken windows, that whole idea that if you let minor crimes go without any punishment, that the whole environment seems to be more lenient, and it just leads to more serious crimes. You don't adhere to that.
It's the serious criminals that are committing the violent crimes.
Shoplifting?
So those are the ones. It's not people who are committing shoplifting that are going out.
But if 100 people go in and steal from stores,
I understand they should be held accountable. That's not the suggestion that we're not holding them accountable. The issue is that it's violent criminals that need to be kept in without bail. Because right now, if you're wealthy enough, you can simply buy your way out. You're a wealthy drug dealer. You can buy your way out with bail.